Good morning, little chickies. I'm not gonna be able to call y'all little much longer. Hi, Goldie. Hey, y'all. I'm Tiffany. This is Our Small Town Life. Thanks for joining me today. You see what's going on here behind me? We worked yesterday and got the majority of our garden in the ground. So I got a few different things I want to show you in today's video. That's the plan, at least. We're gonna do a garden tour so I can show you what we've planted, what varieties we've planted, and we'll talk about that when we get there. I'm going to gather eggs right now. We've been doing some things to break one or two egg eaters that we have, and I'm gonna try another little trick today. Putting mustard in an egg. I've heard people talk about it. I've never done that. Some of the other things that I do have worked, and so I've never had to try that. And I don't know. We're just gonna try it today, and I'm gonna show you how to do it in case you've got an egg eater too. I'm also going to break out my meal today and meal some, am I gonna make cookies and meal some soft white wheat berries, or am I gonna do bread and meal some hard white? We'll find out when we get there. But I want to try out that new meal today. So that's what the plan is. Right now we're gonna go out here and gather any eggs that are already out here. Then we'll do the garden tour and go from there. Justin was out here with me this morning, which it's still pretty early. I think it's gonna rain today, so I want to get out here before it rained. But he was out here with me and he said it sure does feel good to have the garden in the ground. It's a good feeling to have the garden in the ground. And it sure is. Hi, Goose. I'm afraid I'm gonna have to go get you a baby. How many eggs are you on down there? Ginger! This is the first garden tour of 2025, and I enjoy sharing these for a few reasons. One, it's a good source for me to go back and see what we planted each year, where we planted it, what varieties we used, how they did for us. It's also a really good way for me to encourage you to put something in the ground, put a seed in the ground, put a plant in the ground, and grow something. It's good for the soul. In all seriousness, I feel like this is how food was intended. Now, don't get me wrong, I still go to the grocery store every now and then, but when you go through this process and you put the work in, you can feel the purpose and the reward in every step of it. It feels right. Plus, the food is so much better. If you've ever had a grocery store tomato and you thought, well, I don't like tomatoes, let me encourage you to grow a homegrown tomato. It's so different, y'all. I have so many sweet memories growing up in the garden with my pawpaw, and then preserving food in the kitchen with my mama over the summers. And I'm so happy that I'm doing that now with my children. I'm passing that on to them so that they can see the importance in it, the why we do it, where our food comes from. They were out here in the garden with us yesterday as we were planting things. Fletcher was out here at one point. It was just me and Justin and Fletcher, and he was really trying to take it in. And I just had this aha moment, I guess. Not that I didn't already know this, but just this aha moment of this is important. This is important work. Not just the food that we're growing, not just feeding our family, which is incredibly important, right? But teaching these skills to our children. This is a little look at our potatoes. I have a video where we were planting potatoes. I'll link it down in the description box in case you want to see it. But we have our 3 rows of potatoes. We started with red. This whole row is almost all red potatoes. I think it swaps over at the end of it and goes to the Kennebec. And then these 2 rows are Kennebec potatoes. Justin came through and healed these a little bit more. They're growing beautifully. And then right here I planted 2 rows of top pick brown crowder peas. And I think I may actually go ahead and hopefully before it rains today make a 3rd row. I thought about putting my okra here, but I think I'm going to go ahead and do a 3rd row of those crowder peas. Now let's walk over here to this garden. So look at these gorgeous Vego garden beds. Aren't they lovely? These are 9-in-1 beds, so you can configure them 9 different ways. We did them where they're 2 foot wide, 8 foot long, and I've still got to get my dirt in these. I think cabbage is the first thing that's going to go in this, and in the next day or two, I've already got my cabbage starts, and we're going to get our dirt in this, our soil in this, and get those cabbages over here in the next couple of days. These were super easy to put together. Takes just a little bit of time, but the process is incredibly easy. I mean, we got these both put together in a matter of a couple hours, maybe not even that long. You can get them in a few different colors, and I was really impressed with the packaging as we were putting this together. So many aspects of it are compostable. Even the packaging that the hardware was in is compostable, so there was a lot of thought put into that. I'm excited to get these planted, and this is an excellent tool if you have limited space or you have a space where things don't grow well. So like for us, this side of this garden doesn't grow very well because of the trees that are over here and the roots. So we can put these raised beds here and still utilize this space even though things don't grow in the ground really well right here. If you remember, we had our cattle panel archway back in this back corner. Last year we grew loofahs on it. We moved it up here kind of as an entrance way this year, and we have cucumbers planted, straight 8 cucumbers that we're gonna grow on that trellis. I don't have anything directly behind this yet, but that's where our peppers will go. I was gonna give them just maybe another week before I put them in the ground. Peppers grow fairly well over here for us, as long as we don't get them too close to the trees. So I think I'm going to plant my peppers right there behind this trellis. I also have a green stalk that I'm going to be putting together. Maybe I'll do that today too. We'll see what all will today hold. But I'm going to put a green stalk. I think I'm going to put it right here on this side of the trellis. Then we have our row for our beans. Did not get those planted yet. Kind of from here over still has to be planted. Maybe I'll get that in the ground today as well. These mounds that you see right here across the front, these 2 rows are Black Beauty zucchini, and then these 2 rows are yellow crookneck summer squash. Behind those we have our tomatoes. What varieties did we plant this year? We planted some tried and trues. And, you know, are we trying anything new this year? Oh, yes, we are. Yes, we are. These first 2 right here, they are Tennessee britches. And I had a sweet subscriber who sent me these. They're an heirloom tomato out of Cades Cove, I do believe. But I could be wrong on that. I think the gentleman she got the seeds from was in the Cades Cove area. But those first 2 plants are Tennessee britches. They're an heirloom, like a good slicing tomato. So looking forward to having those on some sandwiches. These next 2 are giant pink Belgium. I started all of these right here in this row. I started from seed, and these were one of my favorites last year. Last year was my first year to grow these, and they were some of the most delicious tomatoes. Now they're an heirloom variety, and they don't produce, or from what I experienced last year, they didn't produce just a whole lot of fruit per plant. A decent amount, but goodness gracious, they were delicious. And then we go to some of our tried and trues, the ones Pawpaw always planted, the ones that I can always count on to do well for me. I have 3 Better Boy plants, and then I have 3 Early Girls. And these are a hybrid plant. They were designed to be heat tolerant and drought resistant and pest resistant. They just do really, really well, and they produce a lot of fruit. Then in the second row, these first 2 are some of my favorites. How many favorites do I have? But that's what you do, right? You plant some of your favorite things. Lemon Boys. They make a beautiful yellow tomato that is so good, and they put off a lot of fruit as well. The next two are cherries, and these I started from seed. This one's looking okay. That one down there is looking a little rough after we transplanted it, so I'm gonna have to keep a good eye on it and see what happens there. I may have to replace that one. I'm gonna give it some attention. Maybe it'll perk back up. Sometimes when you transplant things into the ground, they have some transplant shock. That's the only one of these that had any transplant shock when we put them in the ground. Maybe it'll perk back up. We'll just have to see. And then those last three are Cherokee Purple, and they make a very delicious dark tomato. They're an heirloom tomato, an heirloom variety. Then right here we have a row of French breakfast radishes. Radishes are one of those things that I encourage people to plant, especially if you're a new gardener. They tend to grow really well. They grow quickly, so you can see that reward of the effort that you're putting in really quickly. And I think they're delicious. I love snacking on radishes raw. I've also discovered that we really like roasting radishes. It makes them have a milder flavor. And the French breakfast radishes are one that I have really come to love. So that's what we have here is French breakfast radishes. Scarlet Globe is another really good variety. And then this last row right here is where we have our onions in the ground. And these are a sweet onion. In this corner right here behind me, Justin said he thinks he's going to build a hummingbird feeding station, and we're going to plant some flowers around that. So that's the plan right here in the corner. I'm really excited to share our garden with you over the season, throughout the spring, summer, fall, as it hopefully grows and is bountiful for us. That's my prayer as we put these seeds in the ground. I'm saying, Lord, I'll do my part, you do yours. Please bless us with a bounty of food to feed our family and to feed our community. If you've got any gardening questions, I'm always here to help the best that I can, because I really want to encourage you to just grow something. Just grow something, y'all. Mama had called me over. Her cleaning lady's here, and she was asking if we were selling eggs. We got our little farm stand down there, you know, that we're getting set up. And I'm going to put her together a dozen to take and try. Oh, walking in the house, I realized I didn't show you my herbs. This white stuff you see right here, that's diatomaceous earth. I put that on here because when I started messing in these beds, I realized these two had ants in them. So I'm seeing if I can get rid of them ants. But these last two have dill and then basil. I started the basil from seed. The dill and these down here I got from Azure. Got eggs in my hand. Let me set them down. They're the Ellie's Eden. This is rosemary, lemon balm, and peppermint. Don't they look gorgeous? All right, I'm gonna go in and put together a dozen eggs and take back over there. While I'm putting together this dozen of eggs, I thought I'd tell you there are a couple of spaces I didn't show you today. We're working on a berry patch on the side of the house. I'll update you on that soon. And then we're also going to be planting some watermelon and cantaloupe, Rocky Ford cantaloupe, because that's what Pawpaw says to plant. And then we have a few varieties of watermelon that we're going to plant, and we'll be putting those in the ground very soon. We've really enjoyed growing watermelon the last few years, and our hope is to be able to offer watermelon and cantaloupe in our farm stand. That's one of the things I really wanted to be able to offer. So hopefully those do well. Aren't those pretty? Now I'll go ahead and tell you the verdict is still out on the mustard-filled eggs. We'll just have to see, y'all. But here's how you do it. You put a hole in each end, and then you blow through one end to push the contents of the egg out. I know, but it works. And then you just squeeze some mustard into one of those holes, wipe the outside clean, and then put it out in the coop. And the thought is that chickens don't like the taste of mustard, so if they're cracking open these eggs that have mustard in them, it'll make them want to leave the eggs alone. Okay, I've got my mustard-filled eggs. It's pretty easy. Just make a little hole in both ends and push the egg out of the inside, fill it with mustard. Chickens apparently don't like the taste of mustard, so if they crack these open, they're gonna get something they don't like the taste of. A little bit of a wardrobe change t-shirts. I did go ahead and plant another row of those brown Crowder peas. So I did that, needed to change my shirt. Now I decided I'm going to make some bread. I was going back and forth on whether I was going to do cookies or bread, trying out my new grain meal. I decided to do bread because I'm going to put it in the bread machine. And I may pull it out and bake it in the oven, but I'm going to let the bread machine do all the upfront work. To give you a close-up of what these look like. They're beautiful. I got these from Azure. This is hard white wheat. I'm using a recipe that I found recently. I've made it once before. I changed up a couple of things, but it's very similar to one that Allie at Little Hill Homestead makes. I'll link her video in the description box. It calls for a couple of tablespoons of sugar, and the last time I made this I used maple syrup and it was really good, so I'm going to do that again.
Hey Mom!
Hi.
Can you help?
Yeah, of course you can. You can help. Let me scoot it up so Wyatt can reach.
Thank you.
Okay, put that one in.
Yeah. This looks good, Mom. So,
Now our butter.
they were hot.
Yeah, I melted it. This is 1 cup of our fresh milled.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, you have to tell them I have a little helper.
Yes, I have a little helper.
I thought.
Can you dump it? And this is some of the Azure organic all-purpose flour.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to take a tablespoon of this Vital Wheat gluten.
Yeah.
It's an organic Vital Wheat gluten from Azure. And this just, y'all, it does something special for the texture of your bread. Sprinkle that over the top. Then I need 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast. I think I'm going to go ahead and just sprinkle it over the top. This machine does have a yeast dispenser, but we're just going to do it this way. This one has a knead and leaven setting. So I'm just going to put it on that one and let it do its thing. And then I'll pull it out and bake it in the oven. I'm going to put it in my cast iron loaf pan. This has been my favorite thing to use baking bread in the oven. I'm going to cover this with a towel, let it sit here until it doubles. It's only been taking about 45 minutes or so, and then I'll bake this. I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Got supper going over there. You can probably hear it. But I'm going to rub this bread with some of this Rumiano's butter. And I'm going to cover it with a clean dish towel and let it sit here for a few hours. As tempting as it is, it will make for the best bread when it's sliced. Now, this did not rise quite as much as when I used the just complete all-purpose flour that I had. Well, I think that's pretty common of fresh milled grains, fresh milled flour. Looks lovely though, and we'll slice into it a few hours from now. And those of you that mill your own grains, what are your tips? What are your tips and tricks? I want to hear all of them. And here's supper for those wondering. There it is. I'm going to sear it on this side, put it over here in my pan with my honey glaze, and then put it in the oven. When it's about halfway done, I'm going to add some sweet potatoes. And let me just go ahead and show you how I'm putting together this glaze since I was showing you supper. I'm not measuring, y'all, putting a few tablespoons of, if you use soy sauce, this is liquid aminos. About the same amount of honey. Some minced garlic. And some ground ginger. I'm going to go ahead and put most of this on my pork now. And I'm going to save just a little bit to put over the vegetables when I put them in. I'm going to cook my pork for probably about 25 to 30 minutes. Then I'll add the vegetables in, cover it with tin foil, and probably go about another 25 to 30 minutes. Since we've been in bread machine mode today too, we went ahead and started another batch of yogurt. It's going to get done a little later than I would have liked tonight, but that's okay. I'm about to put my vegetables in, but y'all, I forgot to line my pan. It's going to be a pain to clean. I think I'm actually going to move it to a new pan with my vegetables and attempt to deal with this while it's hot. Peek. Ooh. There's your little finished look at our supper and our bread. Supper was delicious, as was the bread. The texture was great, and I'm excited to keep trying out my meal. I'll let you know what I think about it, but I want to try it out a little bit more. I love you. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.